Shalom!
And welcome to the Way of Truth.
Through Torah. You nearly got it on.
Hey, we did good.
Hey, welcome back. This is our afternoon class, and what happened to all of this?
Well,
It was a calendar thing, wasn't it?
yeah,
We were doing the calendar thing. Everybody split on us.
it's okay.
Everybody decided it was a different day. They left. No, I tell you, I'm excited about the calendar study because we've got some brains in here, and everybody's going to dig deep, and we're going to come up with the perfect study on the calendar, and we're going to redo it, and y'all are going to be so happy
No,
because then you're going to know what's going on. Okay, so we're going to finish up our study on Genesis, and I want us to start. I'm actually in the book right now. I want to start with Yasher 5. They're like, oh no, we're back in Yasher. Because I want you to hear the rest of the story. Listen, how in the world did Noach get all those animals on the ark?
Yeah.
How did he do that?
The angels did it.
The angels did it. And it wasn't his little angels, was it? His three sons. Okay, we're starting in Yasher 5.
Saying Enoch, that the angels helped build the ark too? I read that somewhere.
I read that as well.
Jubilees or Enoch, it says they helped build it.
I believe it's in Enoch.
I think so too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so guys, this is the rest of the story of Noach. And okay, let's start at 5. And we are going to start at 6 of 5 in Yasher. And after the lapse of many years, in the 480th year of the life of Noach, when all those men who followed Yahweh had died away from amongst the sons of men, and only Methuselah was left, then Elohim said unto Noah and Methuselah, saying, Speak ye and proclaim to the sons of men, saying, Thus says Yahweh, Return from your evil ways and forsake your works, and Yahweh will repent of the evil that he declared to do to you, so that it shall not come to pass. For thus says Yahweh, Behold, I give you a period of 120 years, and you will turn to me and forsake your evil ways. Then will I also turn away the evil which I told you, and I will not visit. I will not, and it will not exist. It will not exist, says Yahweh. And Noach and Methuselah spoke all the words of Yahweh to the sons of man, day after day, constantly speaking to them. But the sons of man would not hearken to them, nor incline their ears to their words, and they were stiff-necked. We were talking about stiff-necked men earlier, weren't we?
Peculiar stiff-necked.
That's right. And Yahweh granted them a period of 120 years, saying, If they will return, then will Elohim repent of the evil, so as not to destroy the earth. So what has happened here, guys?
Since like a day. 120 jubilees, 6,000 years.
6,000 years. And here, he's literally giving Noach and Methuselah 120 years to preach his word of repent, turn back to Yah, and save your souls, save your spirits. Turn back to him and be obedient children. That's what he wants us to be. You know, don't do what he tells you not to do. And then don't justify it. He's like, turn back to me and do what I'm telling you to do.
Yep.
120 years they're teaching
It's a long
this.
time.
But what does it say? But the sons of men would not hearken. They did not hear. And so we're going to see what the sons of men did over here in 6, because it's going to be pretty sad. In 5, verse 34, we're going to start up. I think it's interesting that Noah's wife was it was Enoch's daughter.
That's what I just saw. It's like, wow, he married Enoch's daughter. So I'm pretty sure that he was perfect in his generations, and so were his children.
Yes.
Since Enoch was the only one at this point who'd never died.
Who had never died. And so do you know who he picked for his sons' wives?
They were random Canaanite women, weren't they?
They were Methuselah's daughters. Or no, wait, they were Methuselah's granddaughters. So they were Enoch's great-granddaughters.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find that here.
I'm going to pick him like a week before they got on the ark.
It's in here. Do you know where it is?
I bet it's in 6 or 7.
Okay, here we go. It's in 30. We're fixing to read it.
It's 35.
It is in 35. I'm like,
35.
we're just fixing to read this. Okay, in 34, in his 595th year, Noach commenced to make the ark, and he made the ark in 5 years, as Yahweh had commanded. And then Noach took the 3 daughters of Eliakim, which was the son of Methuselah, for women for his sons, as Yahweh had commanded Noach. He did everything that his dad told him to do. He didn't question him. And it was at that time Methuselah, the son of Enoch, died. 960 years old was he at his death. You're as old as Methuselah. That's the saying, right?
Yeah.
I'm as old as Methuselah. Well, unless you're 960 years old, you're not close, right? But do you know what the name Methuselah meant? Whose son was he? Enoch. He was Enoch's son. And when Enoch went up into the heavens, Methuselah carried on his ministry. And he preached, and he became the king, really, of the area. And the people loved him. So what did Abba tell Enoch? I'm going to flood the world. I'm going to get rid of these men. I'm going to destroy everything. And it's going to be during the time of your grandson, Noah. And Methuselah's name, his name means, when I die, it will come.
That's
So-
right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So here we have,
He dies though.
that's right. And don't you think Noah knows his name? Your name is Methuselah. When you die, it's going to come. As Enoch's great-grandson, do you think he didn't know about what Yah had prepared for him?
Well, Enoch gave his sons what he learned.
That's it.
He wrote it for them.
And Methuselah taught Noach. Now, Noach wasn't Methuselah's son. He was Lamech's. But he followed after Methuselah. And you will see, let me see if it says in here, it will tell you, in 19 it says, and Lamech, the father of Noach, died in those days, yet truly he did not go with all of his heart in the way of his father. And he died in the 195th year of the life of Noach. So he was not a righteous man. He may have been partially righteous, but he wasn't like Noach, he wasn't like Methuselah, and he wasn't like Enoch.
That's not a picture of it.
So in 30, and then Noah, in 35, then Noah took the 3 daughters of Eliakim, I've already read that, son of Methuselah, for women for his sons, as Yahweh had commanded Noah. And it was at that time Methuselah, the son of Enoch, died. 960 years old was he at his death.
That's why I was saying I thought he got the daughters like right before the flood.
He
That's
did.
where it is.
He sure did. He got them. I mean, he literally went out and got them. But was anyone else found righteous? Anyone? One thing we'll get to that later. Okay. At that time, after the death of Methuselah, Yahweh said to Noah, go with your household into the ark. Behold, I will gather to you all the animals of the earth, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the air, and they shall all come and surround the ark. And you shall go and seat yourself by the doors of the ark, and all the beasts, the animals, and the fowls shall assemble and place themselves before you, and such of them as shall come and crouch before you, shall you take and deliver into the hands of your sons, who shall bring them into the ark, and all that will stand before you, you shall leave. So he's going to take just a few numbers from all the animals that are going to come. The rest of them will stay standing outside. And Yahweh brought this about on the next day, and animals, beasts, fowls came in great multitudes and surrounded the ark. Yeah, I didn't see any raptosauruses, did y'all? No dinosaurs. So these are the animals that Yah had created, that Adam had named. As Yah had what Yah was thinking, Adam named the animals. I thought that was cool. And Yah brought this about on the next day. And great multitudes surrounded the ark, and Noah went and seated himself by the door of the ark, and of all the flesh that crouched before him he brought into the ark. So everything that came into the ark had to bow. It had to bow down, crouch down before him. And all that stood before him he left upon the earth. And a lioness came with her two whelps, a male and a female, and the three crouched before Noach. And the two whelps rose up against the lioness and smote her, and made her flee from her place. And she went away, and they returned to their places, and crouched upon the earth before Noach. And the lioness ran away, and stood in the place of the lions. And Noach saw this, and he wondered greatly. And he rose, and he took the two whelps, and brought them into the ark. And Noach brought into the ark from all the living creatures that were upon the earth, so that there was none left but which Noach brought into the ark. 2 and 2 came to Noach into the ark, but from the clean animals and clean fowls he brought 7 couples, as Elohim had commanded him. And all the animals, the beasts, the fowls, were still there, and they surrounded the ark at every place, and the rain had not descended until 7 days afterward. So Yah's giving them plenty of time, isn't he? They're gathering around, they're bringing them in. That would take a while to fill 3 stories with each of the animals. In verse 11, and this sounds very much like what we're going to expect for the end of days, isn't it?
Yes.
You and Canaan are the only 2 babies left. It's okay, you're with the better crowd, okay? And on that day, Yahweh caused the whole earth to shake, and the sun darkened, and the foundations of the world raged, and the whole earth was moved violently, and the lightning flashed, and the thunder roared, and all the fountains in the earth were broken up, such as was not known to the inhabitants before. And Elohim did this mighty act in order to terrify the sons of man, that there might be no more evil upon the earth. Do you think that worked? Will it work in Revelation? What do the men do? What do the people do in Revelation? They shake their fist at our Father. They shake their fist at the Creator. I've got a cramp in my toe. I had to take my boot off. With everything going on, they don't repent. And that's the same thing here. So he's trying to terrify them. He's trying to get their attention. And still the sons of men would not return from their evil ways, and they increased the anger of Yahweh at the time and did not even direct their hearts to this at all. And at the end of 7 days, in the 600th year of the life of Noah, the waters of the flood were upon the earth, and all the fountains of the deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. And we were looking at the windows of heaven earlier, weren't we?
Mm-hmm.
So all of the gates have 12 windows around each one. That's a lot of windows. That's 612, 12 times 12. What's that, 144? 144 windows, all opened and water pouring through them. And the windows of heaven were opened, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And Noach and his household and all the living creatures that were with him came into the ark on account of the waters of the flood, and Yahweh shut them in. Who shut the door? Yahweh did. Not Noach, not the people outside. It was Yah himself. He shut that door, and I bet he just tarred it up and sealed it. I mean, it was made of gopher wood, and they're really not sure what gopher wood is. Probably similar to teak.
It wouldn't have been pretty. It
That-
would have been covered in pitch. It would have been ugly ark based on the way it's described. It would have been weird looking.
You're all like,
So I've
So I
read it.
wonder if
And it's funny because he's like,
I wonder if the east
Yeah.
is that gopher wood only grows there.
thank you.
Well, it only grows in Florida. The wood that they're calling gopher wood, they've only found it in the Florida area. What? Uh-oh. But if you squeeze the whole earth together,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
you
then
squeeze it together.
Yeah.
if you were Ava and you
Put
just
the
squeezed it all back
Yeah.
together, it would be way closer.
Before the fountains of the deep.
Oh my
spring.
goodness, guitars are made from it.
Yes, I saw that.
Okay, so I don't see what gopher wood was. I'm basing that off of I saw somebody who tried to do the most authentic. I think it may be in the Creation Museum in Glen Rose. They
Oh,
tried to do the most authentic recreation of the ark they could, and it was hideous. Like it was this long. It was this long rectangle box that's like a lot longer than it is wide,
And it's
and
pretty
it's
wood.
not as tall as you would think it would be
Uh-huh.
the model he made. And then it was just like they took black tar and slapped it all over the thing. It was weird. But he justified that by saying it was sealed with pitch.
It was
That's what
sealed with
would've
pitch.
looked like.
This is what that's what scripture tells us.
Yeah.
It was 300 feet cubits long, which would be 450
Uh-huh.
feet. That's long.
75 feet wider.
Wide, 75 feet wide,
45 feet
se-
tall.
and then 45 feet tall.
Yeah.
So
it's
it was
oddly
not-
shaped.
Yes,
Yeah.
and only 3 stories.
Mhm.
So 3 stories and 45 feet, that's not, 12 foot per 12, 14 feet? Well, how many feet?
Well, let's just see here what the dimensions would be. So if it's at
Probably 15 feet per story, right?
75 by 450. 45. That'd be 1.5 million square feet.
But how tall would each floor be? So you've got
15 feet.
15 feet.
Yeah.
So 15 feet per floor. And really, they could have had like, the lower floor might have been smaller and maybe put the cats down there and
You
the
have all
giraffes
domestic
up
animals on the
there.
low floor or whatever.
Yes.
Actually, you'd want the heavier animals on the lowest floor. So
Yes.
it'd probably be the lowest
To keep
floor.
the boat nice and sturdy.
Yeah.
That's very true. Okay.
That'd also be your biggest airtight compartment that would be low water, so that would be more stable.
Yes. So the gopher wood, I guess where I was going with that is that they're not sure what wood it was back in the biblical times. And it would have to be something similar to teak. Something that would have been, waterproof, very
Sturdy enough to
dense,
hold all of it. Yeah.
very dense. Yes. So,
They built ships out of oak in the 17th and 18th century primarily, didn't they? Because of its strength.
well, and a lot of the articles that I was reading said it could have been like oak or a fir, because they're really not sure what the biblical gopher was. But we do have we have gopher wood today, and they do make guitars out of it. And it's a very pretty wood.
Have to be
Oh,
strong.
it's
to make
spruce and all that.
Yeah, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because guitars aren't that thick.
Mm-mm.
Uh-huh.
So it'd have to be strong wood to hold the string board and the frets and everything.
Yep.
Well, that's fascinating. Well,
You want to give me your guitar? Okay.
from an art to a, hey, I was going to bring it and let you play it.
Hey, I'll keep it.
I didn't say keep
It's a
it.
Martin. It's a Martin guitar.
Oh,
Right?
wow.
A cheap Martin guitar,
It's good, Martin.
Gibson would work.
Yeah.
Gibson's. And all the sons of men that were left upon the earth became exhausted. Wait, 15. And y'all got me all off track. And Noah and his household and all the living creatures that were with him came into the ark. Well, y'all didn't either, and y'all was shut him up. And all the sons of men that were left upon the earth became exhausted through evil on account of the rain, for the waters were coming more violently upon the earth, and the animals and the beasts were still surrounding the ark. And the sons of men assembled together. Now, this is after 120 years of being preached to, and they're like, we don't want your religion, we don't want your rules. We're not under those rules.
What does it sound like?
You?
No.
It sounds like people
Today.
today. I don't have to follow those rules. I mean, those were made for the Israelites thousands of years ago.
Until it starts raining.
Until it starts raining,
Yeah.
until the water gets knee
Till
deep.
fire starts coming down.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
great Twilight Zone episode, the old Rod Serling Twilight Zone, and there's a doctor, and they're all having dinner with everybody in the neighborhood, and they have a bomb shelter. And he's just put it in, and he's showing the neighbors, what the bomb shelter looks like, and telling them this is a great idea. And they're all kind of like, yeah, whatever, okay. Well, then there's a national security alert, supposedly there's an alien invasion. Well, the doctor and his family go into their bomb shelter where all the neighbors come, and they're trying to break into it and everything, just like here.
Yeah.
Because it started raining.
Wow, aliens are coming down. So here are these sons of men. They're assembling together about 700,000 men and women, and they came to Noah's bomb shelter.
I bet it was noisy in the dark with all them banging on it.
Can you imagine? And listen, this wasn't like a fun ride either. We're going to see, it was very scary. They called to Noah saying, open up for us, so that we may come into the ark. And wherefore shall we, wherefore should we die? And Noah, with with a loud voice answered them from the ark, saying, "Have you not rebelled against Yahweh and said that he does not exist? And therefore Yahweh brought upon you this evil to destroy and cut you off from the face of the earth. Is not this the thing I spoke to you of 120 years back? And you would not hearken to the voice of Yahweh. And now do you desire to live upon the earth?" And they said to Noah, go to Matthew 24, 38 through 40. That's not what they said to Noah.
24.
Go to Matthew.
38 through 40.
They've been like, where?
Yeah.
They're like,
Populate the earth.
Where's
Prophecy.
Matthew?
Invent
They're
tax
like-
collectors.
where does Matthew live?
Where's Matthew?
Does he have an ark?
You know, the publicans yet.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
And they said to Noah, we are ready to return to Yahweh, only open it up for us so that we may live and not die.
For as they were in the days before, the flood, eating and drinking, marrying and giving into marriage, until the day of Noah entered into the ark. And they did not know until the flood came and took them all away. So also shall the coming of the Son of Adam be.
Hmm.
Maybe a wedding ceremony and he's dressed as splits.
Gonna be a surprise. Okay, and Noah answered them, saying, behold, now that you see the trouble of your souls, you wish to return to Yahweh. Why did you not return during these 120 years, which Yahweh granted you as the determined period? And don't you know that during this time they're saying, look, you've got 120 years and then the floods are coming. Of course, at this point, there probably had not been rain on the earth. They had dew. Is it John Ball? Is that his name? Up in,
Yes.
I went to one of his little talks. He came to Mahia, Texas. The guy that built his hyperbolic chamber was from Mahia.
Okay. I saw him, I was 10 years old. I thought he had died. I didn't know he was still alive.
He probably doesn't spend his time in that hyperbolic chamber.
Yeah.
And gets a little O2, extra O2.
He was convinced it would cure cancer. Absolutely convinced.
Well, you know that they put venomous snakes in there. They said, yeah, we put snakes in there. We were running tests, and I was like, oh, grass snakes, and
No, cobras and
Yes.
rattlesnakes.
the bad snakes. I'm like, why would you want to make a bad snake live longer? But they put them in there really to test and see what the higher oxygen concentration would do, and it wasn't but like 3 or 4% higher in oxygen. I mean, it wasn't like bumped up 10 or 15% more. It was like 2 to 3% points higher. After the 6th generation of snakes, the venom had
They
disappeared.
weren't poisonous at all.
They were no longer venomous.
If I remember correctly, when you put the snake in there in a really high oxygen environment, I want to say like really high, because he said that the atmosphere would be pink before the waters of the deep came. That was at least his theory then. And I want to say he said they put them in there and they raised the oxygen level to what he thought it would be there, and when they had it bite a rabbit, it didn't do anything.
Yes.
Wow.
That's when I was a kid, little kid, like 12, 10 to 13, we went there 2 or 3 times. So I don't remember fully, but that's what I vaguely recall from his seminar.
I'm thinking it may have been 15, 20 years when I went, and I recorded, I typed down everything that he was saying. I was just
It's
fascinated.
fascinating. And most people there are homeschool kids and people who came to make fun of it.
Really. I was like,
But it wasn't over there.
I mean, this guy, so I mean, when the flood came, because so many people want to say, well, that it happened in, all those layers of sediment were millions of years. No. The layers of limestone, which is, probably came from Austin, Texas, I don't know. I'm just saying that, but the layers of limestone that they found a 60-foot tall fern that was embedded in each layer, and it was alive during each layer.
When we were at his seminar, he told us if you go to Glen Rose State Park and down Dinosaur Valley State Park, there's a certain part of the river where you can see huge man's footprints right next to what they say are Stegosaurus footprints.
Yes.
Right next to each other.
At
And
the
we
same
went, And there's pictures of me when I'm a little kid with a foot in this man's foot was like, it was huge. And then right next to that is a Stegosaurus, and it's in the river. And there's all kinds of prints in the river.
It was a
you have to go at
giant.
certain times of year. Yeah.
That was a
Nephilim.
giant. It was sure was two Nephilim. Probably a Nephilim with his pet.
Could have been.
I'm just
They were
saying,
clearly walking side by side.
that is crazy. So, we've been, huh? He wants
She
a
said it would've been his
rhinoceros.
pet. Oh man,
Hey,
too many chocolate brownies
23,
today.
but now you ate all my brownies, didn't you? but-
You made them?
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
I know, I had a lot to make up
No,
for
I didn't know what you
after
made.
that pie I made last week.
That was
That was
good.
the nastiest pie ever. I carried it home and I had heard Waylon say, I can't eat that, it's too sweet. And I carried it home and I was like, oh, you want a piece of pie? I cut a piece for him and a piece for me. I was like, I can't eat this. It is too sweet. It was just
I liked
sugary.
it.
Yeah.
I had a piece of each.
Yeah.
One was hard, one wasn't. I liked
Yeah.
it.
Oy. Okay, but now you come and you tell me on account of the troubles of your soul, and now also Yahweh will not listen to you. You turn your back on Abba, he's going to turn his back on you.
Yep.
And these people turned their back on Abba for 120 years.
Yeah.
That's a lot of back turning, isn't it?
Back.
Yep.
He won't even give you ear to you on this day, and so you will not now, succeed in your wishes. And the sons of men approached in order to break into the ark, to come in on account of the rain, for they could not bear the rain upon them. Just like the people trying to, listen, if you're the only one with lights on the street and we happen to have an EMP and the electricity is out everywhere, guess who's going to be coming to your house?
Mhm.
Everyone you don't want and don't know. They're coming to see you.
Why do you have power?
Yeah, you must have an ice box, right? Wait, that's an old name. A refrigerator. I just dated myself. You know what an ice box is?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. She she didn't flinch.
Mm-hmm. You know what they are.
But you know,
Excuse me.
I mean, it's the same thing, it's just a new word.
Yes,
Mhm.
Yeah. You know.
except we actually used to put ice,
Big
big
block
block
of
of ice in the ice box to
Well-
keep everything cold.
Vicky, I didn't.
Oh,
So, you know.
you were rich. We weren't so rich. We went down to the ice store, bought a big block of ice.
Never had to do that.
Yep.
And we were raised poor, but go ahead.
And the sons of men approached in order to break into the ark to come in on account of the rain, for they could not bear the rain upon them. And Yahweh sent all the beasts and animals, I think this is cool, that stood around the ark, and the beast overpowered them and drove them from that place, and every man went his way, and they again scattered themselves upon the face of the earth. Matthew 25, 1 through 3.
It's kind of like when these people think they're going to get raptured up, they're going to be coming and looking for answers from their priests or their preachers or pastors. Why aren't we raptured? You said we were going to get raptured. You know?
That's going to be the great falling away. The great falling away that's been talked about, it has already started. But the great falling away will be when they're not raptured and they're still here during tribulation, because I hear and I see it all the time. The Christians are talking about the fact that we don't have to worry about this because we're going to be raptured out.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Mom absolutely
Hello.
100% believes that.
Live streamers. There is no free one-way ticket out of this.
Not in here.
We are raised up and taught and trained in order to withstand the trials of the tribulation, not in order to escape it. And if you read the parable of the tares and the wheat, you will
Yeah.
totally understand that it's not the good that are removed, friends. It's the bad. So what did Abba do? He said, not Abba, but Abba did. It's his garden. The man planted the garden, planted good seed, and his servants came and said, "Sir, didn't you plant good seed?" And he said, "Yes." And he said, The tares have grown up. The tares are popping up all over the place. And he said, well, the enemy must have come in the dark of night and must have,
For me, thank you, man.
Aw.
This ain't for me.
thank you. I needed that. You just don't know. He said the enemy must have come in the dark of the night and sown the tares. And so the servant said, well, what do you want me to do? You want us to go ahead and pull up all those tares and get them out? He said, no, no, no. Just let them grow up with the wheat. Because what does the wheat do, Ashton? It bows
The
down.
tares stand proud, so they're easy to rip out.
So when everything's full and it's matured, the wheat will bow over. And you just go in there and you rip the tares out. Put them in a bundle, wrap them up, they'll dry up, and what happens?
Burn. John 15.
You've seen straw.
Mhm.
When you cast straw into the
Pint of
fire.
hay bale.
Yeah. Ooh, we had
Oops.
had an accident with about 60 bales of hay. You remember that?
Oh,
One
Yeah.
spark will do it. If it hits the wrong
I
thing.
was like, so why did we light a fire like 10 feet from them?
So the tares, the proud, not the humble. The humble will bow down before the king. That's good. I like
I
that.
love that.
That is like,
Yeah. Adam Fink has a painting of somebody
Ooh.
did, and it's beautiful.
Oh, really?
If I can figure out who did it, I want to print it, yeah.
If you contact him, he will tell you.
I will do that.
He's really good about communicating.
Okay, cool.
So the beauty
Never
behind the
reached out
story,
to
thank you so much, Kaylin. I was having issues here. So the whole point behind this is that the bad are pulled up and cast into the fire. Where does the kingdom come down to?
here.
Here. Where's heaven coming to? Here. This is going to be heaven.
New Jerusalem will be here.
The New Jerusalem will be here on earth. So he's not going to pull us up. We will be meeting him in the sky. But that's for the final battle.
Mhm.
So I want you to listen to this.
You said Matthew 25.
Yes, would you read that, please,
You
sir?
want me to go 1 through 13?
I would like for you to go 1 through 3,
1 through 3.
please.
Then the reigns of the heavens shall be compared to 10 maidens who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 of them foolish. Those who were foolish have taken their lamps, took no oil with them. But
You keep
But-
going.
but the wise took oil in their containers with their lamps. Now, while the bridegroom took time, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight a cry was heard. See, the bridegroom is coming. Go to meet him. Then all those maidens rose up and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said to the wise, give us your oil, because our lamps are going out. But the wise answered, saying, no, indeed, there would not be enough for us and you. Instead, go to the wise who sell. Go to those who sell and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him in the wedding feast, and the door was shut. And later the other maidens also came, saying, Master, Master, open up the door, or open up for us. But he answering said, truly, I say to you, I do not know you. It's deep.
What is the oil?
A what?
What is- It's the Torah. What else is it? What does the Song of Solomon tell us that the oil is? It's his name.
You said
Oh,
the
yeah, his
world?
name.
The Song of Solomon?
No, what was the word you said?
Oil.
Oil. I'm sorry.
Not old.
Oil.
Oh, you know, oil.
He says
In
old.
Song of Psalms, Song of Songs, chapter 1, verse 3, it says, for fragrance, your oils are good. Your name is oil poured forth, and therefore the young women love you. So his name, what were they calling him? Master, Master?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Open up, Master, Master. Baal,
There's two men.
Baal.
Yeah.
Open up, Baal.
Mhm.
I never knew you. The bridegroom has a name, and it's not Baal, and it's not Master. His name is Yahusha, and it is Yahweh, and his name is like the oil poured forth. His name is the Torah. Yahusha is a right arm of salvation, and through that right arm of salvation, that walking, talking, living, breathing word of Yah is our salvation. Only through that. Listen, you can be as obedient as anyone on the face of the earth, and that will get you to the door. It's going to get you to the door, but without the testimony of our Savior, you will not get through the door. So you have to have both. And Revelation is pretty clear on that as well. In Revelation 12, you already know where I'm going, don't you? In Revelation 12:17, and the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went forth to fight with the remnant of her seed. And guess who that remnant of her seed is? Yes, sir.
Us.
It's us. It's those guarding the commands of Elohim and possessing the witness of Yahushua Messiah. And if you don't believe that one, look at 14:12.
Here's the endurance of the set-apart ones. Here are the ones guarding the commands of Elohim and have the belief of Yahushua.
That's it. So you can have the commands of Moshe, and you can be obedient to them down to the T. And you will make it to the door. But when you get to the door, Yahushua's not going to know you if you don't have his testimony. So people think that we're trying to be legalistic, and we're not. We're obedient because I love him. He is my father. He is my bridegroom that's soon coming. I love him with all my heart. What do I want? Nothing different than I would want from my father. I want to make him happy with me and to please him. And because of my love for him, and really, really because of his love for me, I'm obedient out of love. That love will get us to the door because our obedience will get us to the door. But our love for what he did for us, the witness of our Master Messiah, Yahushua, will get us through that door. Only his righteousness will get us through. Our righteousness gets us there, his gets us through.
He is the high priest atoning on our behalf. That's what's missed in Hebrews.
Yes.
I studied Hebrews the other day and read it in the suffering for the first time. It just hit me like a lightning bolt. What was being said. I never understood the
Isn't
order
it
of
beautiful?
Melchizedek, but it's so clear what the order of Melchizedek is. Temple sacrifices are no longer required. The offerings are no longer required because the only offering that could ever end that was offered. And now sitting at the right hand of the Father as the high priest, waiting for New Jerusalem for that temple to be restored, he stands at the right side of the Father, atoning on our behalf. And when he comes down, he'll be the high priest for us all.
No.
No?
No.
I missed something?
Yes.
What is it then?
He will not be high priest on this earth.
Well, he'll be the king.
He will be the king.
Yeah.
So
Here.
there is a priestly,
Order.
the Zadok priest will be the high priest in the new temple.
Yes.
He will be the king. He doesn't have to do any work here.
Yeah,
He
get
just
that
comes
here.
with that. He comes with that rod of iron,
Yes.
and you better mind him, because he's not coming as a
That's
suffering
who he
servant.
is there.
Right now, he is our high priest. He is interceding on behalf of every single one of us. Even Shaul, Paul tells us that when he comes to earth, he will not be high priest because there's already priest appointed. And the Zadokian priests, who are of the lineage of Aharon, they will be the priest during that time, and there will be sacrifices. There won't be sin sacrifices. He was our sin sacrifice. But there will be during the millennial reign, and you can read it in Ezekiel and in Isaiah. And I had people leave my class one time because I read it out of scripture. I was like, but that's what the scripture says. I'm sorry. But I mean, scripture itself says during the millennial reign, there will be sacrifices. There will be Thanksgiving sacrifices. There will be peace sacrifices. And guess what happens to the Thanksgiving and peace sacrifices? You eat them. So we will still be eating during the millennial reign. And in order to eat, he's going to have everything killed kosher. It's going to be killed properly, which means his throat will be slit. And once a kosher animal's throat is slit, it bleeds out within seconds. I mean, within seconds, it's unconscious. So there's no pain for it yet. An unkosher animal, not so. It's got another vein coming up the back of its neck, and it takes it a while to die. So Abba knew what he was doing when he gave us the kosher animals to eat. Yes. Okay. Let's go back to the scriptures. Now what we've done is we've read all about the ark and the covenant. I want to point out some things, and we're not going to go through the whole Torah portion because really this spells out pretty much what happened. There was preaching for 120 years. Methuselah preached. Noach preached and nobody listened. How do we know that? Because nobody was on the ark except Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and his 3 daughter-in-laws. That's all that John chose to say. But I want to show you something that is really so very cool. In 7, verse 7, it says, and Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Go to Genesis 19:29 said. And Bethany, would you pull up Deuteronomy 5:18? And Ashton, would you pull up Exodus 20, verse 6?
You said 1929.
Yes, sir.
Let me get ready.
Yes, please.
Thus it came to be when Elohim destroyed the cities of the plain, that Elohim remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot had dwelt.
Wait, read that again.
Thus it came to be, when Elohim destroyed the cities of the plain, that Elohim remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out from the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot had dwelt.
Who did he remember?
Lot.
Who did he remember?
I mean, Abraham. Sorry.
He remembered Abraham. He remembered Abraham's righteousness. And because of Abraham's righteousness, he saved Lot. We have to remember this.
He
Bethany.
did not commit adultery. That's what it says.
I'm like, okay.
Yes, ma'am. I'm being obedient.
We could have done this like in the other room. Is that all it says? Okay.
I'm not sure.
Have I chosen the wrong verses?
I'm not sure if 20 verse 6 is the one you wanted me to do.
I think 20 verse 6.
And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and guard my commandments.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay, start before that on the curses.
You shall have no other Elohim before me. You shall not make unto you any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heavens above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down yourself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahuwah Eloheka, am a jealous El, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, upon the 3rd and 4th generations of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and guard my commandments.
That's it. He visits the iniquity on the 3rd to 4th generations, but because of your righteousness, it's visits to thousands of your generations.
So
How
Rob's-
amazing is that?
It is. Rob Skiba had a psychologist who was in an excerpt in one of the videos he did, and the psychologist said that they took a group of criminals out of a maximum security prison who had all committed extremely heinous violent crimes. And after studying them, they took DNA samples and discovered that every single one of these men had a mark in the same location on the DNA.
The
What?
murderers had it on the same
On one
spot,
spot.
the thieves had it on the
Really?
same spot,
The one
right.
who did, immoral crimes had it in the same, different mark in a different location, but that crime had this mark, and this crime had this mark. And then they checked a bunch of people that were just your average people with no criminal records, no marks.
Okay, my question would be, how about their dads?
That's
I wanted
an
to know the
interesting
same
question, yep.
thing.
So I'm going to bet you the majority of them did not have fathers.
Yeah, or they were generational curses.
For
that
their
brought down.
generation. Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
the majority, I think the figure is like 95% of the men in prison
Yeah.
are not were not fathered. I mean, they weren't, they didn't have a father to raise them. And so if you went back and actually did a study of the fathers that sired them,
Yeah.
their biological
I
fathers,
think he said something too, because there was another group that didn't have a mark, and I think it was people who had broken the generational curses and repented. I
wow.
want to say that was the other group, but I don't.
We need to look and see what kind of studies have been done on like father to son, because it says 3 to 4 generations that curse goes down, but you can break it. So guys, it doesn't matter. And last streamers, this is for you. It doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter if your father or mother were a serial killer or a habitual liar, you can break that generational curse. You repent, and Abba will give you the strength to change. And you can break it, and it won't go to you, and it won't go to your
My
children.
parents both came out of awful homes that broke generational curses. It was only because of their ability to break generational curses that I had a normal life.
Wow.
That's it. My parents came out of horrible homes, both separately.
So there you go. It does not matter. Well, it doesn't matter where you came from. We may be a Ruth. We may be a Rahab. I may tell you. It doesn't matter what you've done in your past. It doesn't matter what your parents have done in their past. If you choose to turn and follow Yah, today's what counts. What the choices you make today are what matter. And I love this. This verse right here is in Jubilees 5, verse 19. And for all of those who corrupted their ways and their thoughts before the flood, no man's person was accepted save that of Noah alone. He alone was found righteous, for his person was accepted in behalf of his sons, whom Elohim saved from the waters of the flood on his account. For his heart was righteous in all his ways, according as it was commanded regarding him, and he had not departed from aught that was ordained him. He was a righteous man. It wasn't because of his wife, and it wasn't because of his sons. It was because of his life and the choices he made in his life. Listen, when Abba said, go stand on the corner and preach for 120 years, for 120 years that man preached. And so did Methuselah, with people mocking him. I mean, it would be no different from us going down here in Fairfield, standing on the street corner and preaching about the Torah. Shoes, rotten tomatoes.
Coal.
Coal.
Go back to your shop.
Huh?
Go back to your shop.
They would be chunking everything at us
Yeah.
and just basically turning a deaf ear. But he did it anyway. It didn't matter because the eternal far outweighs the present.
Yes. It's only
Far outweighs the present.
temporary.
Okay, we are going to literally skip over to 11.
Vicki, I'm gonna gather out of here.
I was going to say, it's getting late and you don't need to be on the road after dark.
I need to get on the road.
I'm so glad you came, Mary.
Oh, thank you,
Good to
thank
see
you.
you.
I don't know if I'll be able to make every one of them, but I'm gonna try to.
Well, you can always live stream with us.
Yes. yes.
And I mean, sometimes when it starts getting cold, I don't want you on that road. I'm like,
I'm not really afraid. I feel like I'm a safe driver. Lord rides with me.
yes.
You know, he rides with me, so I place him there though. I have to place him right there.
He's
Get
your
in here, put your seatbelt on.
Oh, you make him
Becky.
buckle up.
Anyway, I am gonna go, but I have a question. So everything that we were reading in Genesis, the extra stuff that you're reading, the Sefer there is everything plus, is that right?
Yes.
Apocryphal, yeah.
Okay, so it's everything that we're reading, but more.
Yeah.
It's actually the books that were originally in the Roman Catholic Church.
A lot of them weren't
Bible.
even taken out, like Jubilees wasn't even taken out until the 1800s by a particular group. What were they called, Seth? Do you remember? The, not revolutionaries, but I don't remember. The specific group of Puritans that were like, that's gone. And it was in the Bible until 1800.
But see, the Catholics didn't rule every how the Bible was put together. That was their own that was their own
Yeah, that's what he's
religious
saying.
Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Is it Protestants?
It was Protestants that took that out.
Yeah, that was
They-
Protestants.
Not the Catholics.
So
Yeah.
a young lady corrected me last week, and I was like, "Wow, I appreciate you telling me that because you had already said the same thing."
The Latin
so
book
it
still has
wa-
4 or 5 apocrypha in it.
Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't just the Roman Catholic Church; it was everyone, and everyone took it out because the same reason the Jews took out Isaiah 53. We can't let them know how awesome Jesus was. We can't let them know that, or Jesus. Yahusha,
Uh-huh.
we can't let them know. I know everybody's like, you said the J word. I did.
But you know, that's not a sin to say the J word. He's now known by many names. The Messiah, the Word, I mean,
But he is the Messiah and he is the Word, but
He's
he's
right.
not Jesus. Because Jesus is a Greek name and and Mary's like,
well,
okay.
I mean, because my Jesus is your Elohim, right? I mean, well, it is. I mean, it really, because there is one true God
Mm-hmm.
and his Son. So when I pray to him, he knows that, I mean, he's the Almighty One.
For
And I'm
you,
praying.
your heart is telling you exactly, because you know he is a walking, talking, living word of Yah. But Mary, most of the people out there do not understand that he is the word of Abba Yah. And so they just think that he is a free ticket, and really, the way he's preached from a lot of pulpits, he's the lawless one.
Yeah.
The J man is the lawless one who came and did away with all the law. And so for them, he's their free ticket out of
He's
being
grace,
obedient.
that's it.
Huh?
He's grace and that's it.
He's that's all he is. He's just grace.
They
So-
believe in obedience. You have to be obedient to the word and what he taught.
Well, that's the way I was raised to believe.
But see, you were taught different. Most of the people that I run across, they are. I'm not under that law. Well, why not? Because I am. I mean, we all are.
Well, I mean, the way I see it is that you have the law, and then you have the New Testament, and so though the part that's fatally, really, I mean, it's important, rolled over to the New Testament, and it is emphasized in the New Testament as well. But Jesus will tell you, and he's mine. I'm all you need.
The word is all we need.
That's right.
It's the walking, talking, living, breathing word,
That's
the
right.
commandments, and our obedience. But he tells us, he says, if you love me, you'll keep my commands.
Right.
And it was him that gave us the commands on Mount Sinai. So yes, we need him, but he's more than just a man. He's our Savior.
Exactly.
And he's more than just our Savior. He is the Word of Abba that was from the very beginning all the way to the end. And when as we study his Word and see the fullness of who he is, I'm overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed at everything that he has done for us, even before he was born in this fleshly tent on this earth. Everything that he did throughout the Old Testament. I mean, he was here as soon as Adam and Eve did whatever they did in the garden, and we know they took from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. As soon as they did that and they were escorted out, Abba said, okay, son, my right arm of salvation, this is all up to you now, because as you see in the first book of Adam and Hua, he sent his word to them every single time. So Yahweh himself, our Elohim, the great Father, he never came down, and he has nothing to do with us until the very end. And I'll show you.
But see, I mean, I know all that, and
Mhm.
everything that you're saying, I've learned. I know it.
Right.
But I mean, that is my God and my Jesus. Those are the names I give them, but it's the same
Right.
belief. So, you know, I may trip up and say Jesus or God in here, but we're talking about the same person, the one and only,
You
the Alpha
are.
and the Omega.
You definitely are. Yeah.
You know, so that's who I'm talking about when I say that.
Right.
You know, the Son, the Messiah.
Yep. He's the
Yeah.
olive to the top.
That's
He was
right.
everything
So,
Hebrew. He was a
Everything,
Jewish man.
that's when I say Jesus, that's who I'm referring to.
Right.
Same as yours. You know, it's the same one.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows when I'm, when I'm calling him. He
Right.
knows that no matter what I call him, I mean, he has blessed me beyond, and I call him Jesus, and I call God, and I call the Son of my Almighty. You know,
Yep.
so, and he's blessed me with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Well, and the good thing is, and you said it right then, he does know our heart.
that's right.
And
He
so
does.
if your heart is seeking after truth, and that's who our Savior is,
That's
he's the
right.
truth.
Right.
If your heart's seeking after truth, he knows that. And the truth sets you free. And so that is a huge difference. But you are very different. And I'm just saying that with all honesty. Because most of the people out there, they don't want what Abba wants for us. And that blows me away because he loves us so much that he gave us these rules, these instructions to help us to grow. Well, just like the food laws. He gave us that so that we would be healthy, that we could grow strong, that we could develop. And then he gives us all the other rules to keep us safe.
Right.
You know, and he did it as our loving father. And his kids, rebellious kids go, I don't want any of that.
Well,
I don't want that.
I know some of those rebellious people.
I do too.
In that walk, I have encountered them. But y'all be safe going home.
Oh,
You
thank
too.
you. You be really safe. Be
Okay.
careful on that
Look forward to seeing you
45.
again.
Okay, thank you. All right. Y'all have a blessed
This is
evening.
a
You
virtual
too.
hug.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Bye. Okay. Where was I? Oh, 11. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to get you out of here. So, how many we got to go through 12? So, in 11, we're going to see the Tower of Babel.
No, just to 32.
Yeah, it is just to 32.
We're in Genesis 11.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm still over in Exodus. Gladly.
Are you eating some more of that good stuff?
It's too legit to quit.
It is too legit to quit.
Yeah, she made me a humongous breakfast this morning.
So did she.
Eggs, potatoes, the turkey bacon, and a burrito, humongous, with whipped cream, blueberries, strawberries, and vanilla yogurt, and grits with biscuits. I know, right? I don't eat breakfast during the week.
I don't either usually, but
Yeah, I've
she
seen
makes
one.
it.
Yeah, I was just like,
She always makes it.
okay.
All I ate was the eggs.
Yeah. Topped off with some coffee and some OJ.
That's
Good
the way
to
you
go.
want to wake up.
Yeah,
I make big breakfast every morning.
you do.
That's
went to her
my favorite
house.
meal.
I went to her house. She had a whole spread. I'm like, oh my gosh. Al eats like a king.
But and the thing is, he's so used to it
Mhm.
that it's just his norm. So he doesn't think he eats like a king. Guys, I do want to hit two other things though. The land is divided up in these chapters. Did y'all know that?
The land is divided up.
So they have come off the,
Oh, yes. Yeah, between the sons.
and y'all have seen that, right?
Mhm.
The beautiful dividing up between Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
We've even tried to figure out which goes where
Oh,
geographically, based on the
in
description.
Pangea. So in that Pangea map, when I get it, so I couldn't tell where on there, but you know, Abba tells us that the belly button is Israel. And looking at the map, it looks like a body, and it does look like Israel may be in the belly button area. So the thing is that we should be able to tell on that how everything was split up. I really think we will, because all of the promised land, Mount Sinai, the Garden of Eden, all of this went to Shem. And Noach was like, this is perfect. This is how I wanted it to go to, because he was a blessed son. He was the one that he had a Shiva, a school for teaching Torah, and he taught Torah. He taught Abraham, he taught Yishak, and he taught Yaakov. Did y'all know that?
Wow, no.
Abraham, I think, spent 50-something years with Shem and Noah. So,
Would have been near Samaria.
huh?
So it would have been near Syria or Samaria, where the school was?
I think it was in Jerusalem.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it was in Jerusalem. So the Melchizedek was Shem.
Oh, okay. See, I'm trying,
I just saw a light bulb
yeah,
flicker.
yeah, you did.
You were like, wait. So when
Yeah, 'cause
you're,
I can't find out, I'm sure it's in the Apocrypha somewhere, but I couldn't figure out where Melchizedek is anywhere else in the Bible.
it is
Couple of
Shem.
places.
Where's that at?
I think it's in Yasher. But he is a Melchizedek, and he had raised Abraham. He knew Abraham. So he was
Yeah.
he was the Melchizedek, and he was the king of Salem, which is Jerusalem, and he came down and met Abraham.
Oh my gosh.
Do you see the beauty?
Salem. You mentioned what I didn't know Jerusalem was known as Salem. So the Aleph and Tav eclipses both go through 14 towns called Salem.
Is that not amazing?
Yes, it is.
And the partial eclipse tonight or today was over
Jerusalem.
Jerusalem. Jerusalem.
There it is.
Yeah. Huh?
Wow.
You know,
Can't every day be Shabbat?
so you're getting the excitement that we get when we come together because it's iron sharpening iron, and I'm telling you, I learn as much as everyone else because I'm like, oh, Pangea. I mean, I didn't say anything at the time because I was like, that's a new word for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means.
I've heard of it before, but I don't know if I've ever seen a picture of it.
I have it nailed into my head.
It's super cool. Yeah.
Here,
Well, they were still teaching sort of geography as it looks today when I was in school. You've been getting
And that's
understood.
billions of years ago and billions of years before that. And that.
so pass this to Ashton and Jessica. So after the sun sets tonight, I will be ordering these posters.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Okay.
Can you see Israel on there? Because I could not get it big enough for my eyes to see. Can you see it, Kaylin? I'm sorry, live streamers. We just totally went woo off the.
Yeah, we did.
We just drove off the side of the cliff.
Yeah, it's
Here.
it's right there. It's that.
The red dolphin?
So that would kind of be a little bit. Yeah. Wicked cool.
Is that not cool?
Yeah, it is.
So this makes the divisions.
Make more sense.
Yes. I mean, this makes everything make more sense. Why have I never heard of this? You had. These youths, all you youths, you youths are bringing so much to me. So I'm going to go ahead and read this really quickly for the live streamers who don't know about the Earth's division, because it does talk about in here about the Earth began to be divided. And this is where y'all literally, he divided it up, and then they what? They rolled for it. They chanced it out. In verse 18, well, let me start at 10 of chapter 8 of Jubilees. And it came to pass in the beginning of the 33rd Jubilee, which was the year 1650, that they divided the earth into three parts for Shem, Ham, and Japheth, according to the inheritance of each. So they each got to draw for the land. So this is what was in Shem's. So his had the great sea, let's see. He had the Garden of Eden. He had the Garden of Eden, the Holy of Holies, Mount Sinai. He had Mount Zion. He had, let's see, what else? I mean, what else could you ask for, right?
Sure.
He had the whole land of the Red Sea, the whole land of the east in India, the Red Sea and the mountains thereof, the land of Roshan and all the land of Lebanon and the lands of Kaphir. So, I mean, he's pretty well telling you, like right here, what Shem got. So
You got it all.
the promised land literally went up past Lebanon, which is on the northern tip, and then you have Syria, which is just to the kind of the east of Lebanon, but butting up to the northeast corner of Israel. So he had all that. I mean, all of this. It's just, in 21 it says, and he knew that a blessed portion and a blessing had come to Shem and his sons unto the generations forever, the whole land of Eden and the whole land of the Red Sea. So I got a question. This is the promised land. Why is it called Canaan? So go over to 10. So the rest of the land is divided up, guys, and I'm not going to get into it because I think the important thing is that Shem ended up with the beautiful, amazing, blessed portions. And Shem was the one that was, he raised our forefathers. In, let's see. Okay, in chapter 10, verse 27, says, in the 4th week, in the 1st year, in the beginning thereof, in the 4 and 13th Jubilee. And so, live streamers, the Jubilees are 50. So when you're reading about the 4 and 13th Jubilee, 30th, you're reading about 34 Jubilees, which would be, I don't have this one, 34 times 50, it's 1,600 and 800.
1,500 plus the weeks.
1,700.
1,700. So it was the year 1,700. They were dispersed from the land of Shinar, and this was after the fall of the Tower of Babel. And Ham and his sons went into the land which he was to occupy, which he acquired as his portion in the land of the south. And listen to this. And Canaan saw the land of Lebanon to the river of Mitzrayim, that it was very good. And he went not into the land of his inheritance, to the west, that is to the sea. And he dwelt in the land of Lebanon, eastward and westward, from the border of Jordan, and from the border of the sea. And Ham his father, and Cush, and Mitzrayim his brother, said unto him, you have settled in a land which is not yours, and which did not fall to us by lot, and do not do so. For if you do so, you and your sons shall fall in the land, and be accursed through sedition. And by sedition ye have settled, and by sedition will your children fall, and you shall be rooted out forever. Dwell not in the dwelling of Shem, for to Shem and to his sons did it come by their lot. Cursed are you. Woe. His father just cursed him. His grandfather cursed him. His grandfather cursed him before he was born. Did you know that? He cursed Canaan, and Canaan wasn't even born. He cursed the 4th son of Ham. And we're going to get into that little story too. So Noach, beyond all the sins of Noach, by the curse by which we bound ourselves by an oath in the presence of the holy judge and the holy presence of Noach our father. So this beautiful promised land that was Shem's, which probably should have been called Shemtown, or I don't know, it got called Canaan. From the time I started reading the Bible, years, I was young, I was like, why would they call the promised land Canaan? He was cursed. Well, because he stole it. But you know what is really cool? They still called it Canaan, right? Abba didn't change anything, but he will. I wonder what it's going to be called when we get there. I'll let that be that we all get there. I pray that we're feeling worthy enough. Jerusalem, the whole thing.
The whole Levant is what's described.
Yes, yes. So when they say Levant, what are they talking about, Ashton?
I don't know specifically what Levant is. I just know what Israel, Jordan, Syria. Yes.
Okay.
That's the areas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kaylin, say it out loud, really loud. What is a Levant?
Israel, Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon.
Okay,
Wow.
So it doesn't have a specific meaning. It's just referring to those.
It's referring to exactly where the property
So
was. So I hear of the Levant, especially during Obama's rule. He talked always about the Levant. And so I assumed there was an agreement or a covenant with a certain group of nations. I didn't know which nations it was. What have you studied so hard and know so much? Is it history?
Yeah, history and geography.
He's a walking encyclopedia of history
good.
and geography.
According to Wikipedia, in the 13th and 14th centuries, the term Levant was used for Italian maritime commerce in the eastern Mediterranean, including Greece, Anatolia, Syria, Palestine, and Egypt. That is the lands east of Venice. Eventually, the term was restricted to the Muslim countries of Syria, Palestine, and Egypt, and then it changed over the years.
Yes.
But it was originally a maritime trade word for that geographical area.
That's not how they're using it today. They're using it in the terminology that Kaylin is mentioning. So, yeah, that is just So cool. Okay, so guys, I've got a question. When Noach, and it wasn't for 3 years after they came off the ark, we do know he grew these beautiful grapevines. He bottled the wine. 3 years later, on the first of sounds like it's the first day of the year, he's just rejoicing. He's thanking Abba Yah, and he and his sons are all drinking this wine and enjoying themselves, and then he goes to bed and he falls asleep. His nakedness is uncovered. What did Ham do? I mean, the nakedness as defined in Genesis is the uncovering of a man's wife.
Correct.
That is the nakedness. When his nakedness is uncovered, it's his wife that is uncovered.
So what did he do since obvious?
Okay, so we're
And then he
good.
went and told his brothers about it.
He went and bragged. Okay, so just for our live streamers, there was an inappropriate action between him and his mother. And Noach knew exactly what had taken place, and he cursed not him. He didn't curse his own son, and he didn't curse Cush. He didn't curse Ham's
First all his generations.
immediate sons. He cursed Canaan.
Oh, that's right.
He cursed the fourth son that was not even born yet. Is that not so? We love our children, but he didn't curse his son, though his son's the one that did it. Isn't that interesting? But it's hard to curse your own child. It would be hard to curse your own child. It would be hard even if you had a child that was rebellious. What was the first witness was to chuck the first stone. Bop on the head, right? So what parent could drag their child down there?
Hey, Mama.
Come on, we're going to the city gate. This one, he's been unruly and rebellious since he was 10 years old.
We're gonna stone him.
We're going to stone him.
Bro. No bro code.
Sheriff stones.
Okay, thanks.
So I mean,
Rock, Yahusha.
see, okay, so that would be hard. And it sounds like Noah, he's a righteous man. He's a loving man, but his son did something horrid. And just as Reuben did to Yaakov. Reuben did the same thing. He fell out of the lineage. He was no longer even in the lineage. So, okay, I just wanted to
Who did you
Hit.
say? Bill?
Bilhah,
Yeah.
which was Rahel's.
Daughter-in-law.
It was Rahel's maidservant. Yeah, and when you get into the book of Yashar and the book of Jubilees, it looks like it was out of jealousy for his mother that he slept with her, because once Rachel died, Yaakov moved his bed into Bilhah's tent. And so out of jealousy, supposedly he slept with her, which then Yaakov never slept in that bedroom again. He moved. But what's beautiful is that Leah ended up being the one that he was like, she was the most wonderful wife. And after her death, he was appreciative of everything. You could see that there was a love that grew.
The maturity of the relationship.
It was definitely maturity of a relationship, but he began to appreciate everything that she did,
Yeah.
and he didn't look at the physical. The physical doesn't mean a whole lot,
His
does it?
eyes loved Rachel and his heart loved Leah.
That's right. And I think his eyes kept his heart from loving Leah until Rachel was gone, and then he could see her beauty. I think the deception really distorted his vision. Laban, doing all the deception he did over the daughters, he shouldn't have done that.
Well,
And
he'd be resentful.
yes, but it was kind of payback for what Yaakov did to Esau. I mean, I don't know. There's so much drama in these biblical stories, right?
There's so much drama.
Oh,
All the drama we got going on.
My parents named my brother Jacob, and they said had they realized what his name really meant, because they saw
Heel
the
grabber.
blessings.
They saw what?
They saw the blessings and everything from Jacob,
Oh.
also means deceptive one. And they told me they would have never named him that had they realized that.
Wow.
Because it
He lived up to his name.
lives
We'll
up to
just leave it at
that side of the meaning
Yeah.
of his name.
Well, you know what? We'll pray that he wakes up to Israel.
We'll be doing a lot of praying. He is a card-carrying member of the Church of Satan. Yes. That's my brother. Completely in the opposite camp. Couldn't be further in the opposite camp if we tried.
Oh my goodness.
So we'll keep praying for him.
That's all we can do.
You know what? Through things that are going on in the family, there could be a change through Pop,
I hope so.
through your dad.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, one thing, and I think I shared this with y'all this week, and I think it's in the book of Jubilees, but the covenant, the rainbow covenant, when did that happen?
After the flood,
It was after the flood.
everybody's fell in the sky.
It was for Shabbat.
Yeah.
It was a remembrance of Shabbat. And I want y'all to see that, because when I saw that, I was like, our Father is so amazing. Just so amazing. But what's funny is that when I started looking back through everything that I had written through the years of studying, I was like, this happened during Shabbat. I mean, I was like, when they came off and when he gave this covenant, it was during Shabbat. And sure enough, it was. Huh? And
It's Genesis 9:16.
Are you looking at Jubilee?
yes,
Oh,
Go to Jubilee
that one's
6,
more thorough.
like 14, 15, 16.
that's exactly it. In 16 it says, he set his bow in the cloud for a sign of the eternal covenant that should not again be a flood on the earth to destroy it all the days of the earth. For this reason it is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets that they should celebrate the feast of Shabbat in this month once a year to renew the covenant every single year. Is that not beautiful? So, who created the rainbow? Yeah, this doesn't belong to any group here on this earth
That's why
who won't
they've
claim
chosen
it. Yeah,
Literally.
They
It's his
try-
covenant to us. That's why they picked it.
they try to distort every single thing. But this covenant is between him and his children, and it's a forever covenant, and it's something we celebrate every year at Shabbat. And
And they do June or July, the Pride Month,
It was
oh,
picked.
which is right around Shabbat,
Yeah.
kind of.
Awesome
So
time
they
for us,
try
everything.
to corrupt it.
You're right, Nathan.
isn't it something?
And also they use 6 colors, not 7.
Yep, you're
Yeah,
right.
6.
They don't use the
Six.
Where's
magenta.
Tiffany at? We need her.
They don't use the
She's like,
magenta.
666!
They don't use the indigo.
Indigo, that's what it is. Yeah.
Is indigo like a purple or a
Kind of
blue?
gospel.
Bluish purple.
That's kind of like royalty, isn't it?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it is.
It's kind of like the color in the tzitzit.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Do they use it
Satan.
on that new flag, the trans looking one? Because it's got like a triangle on it. I wonder if that one's got indigo on it.
It doesn't.
Yeah. So they've even corrupted it. It's 6 instead of 7. I read that like a while back, and I was like, that's even corrupted what it looks like.
Is that not crazy?
Yeah, she's right.
Everything. These kids. We're learning from these kids. Yes. I like it. I like it a lot.
They're all amazing.
The Tower of Babel.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So do y'all know why there was a Tower of Babel?
They wanted to be.
They wanted to fight him, right?
No, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There were 3
Yeah.
different groups.
Yeah.
One group was like, we're going to build this tower. We're going to get up there in heaven. We're going to take over heaven. And we're going to put our little g God up there and get rid of that Yahweh Elohim, right?
Up there and go into the throne room and fight Yahweh somehow.
Yeah, they were even shooting arrows up there.
And
You're
now
gonna
they
come back down.
and now
And
they
they-
send rockets. Like it's somehow different.
Well, you just made a really good point.
That's why
Yeah,
they send
they were-
rockets.
what is it called? Operation Fishbowl?
Mhm.
Boom. spoon. I mean, you see,
Bang off the dome.
I know. And didn't they like crack it, or is there?
I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me if the reason they send the rovers is so they can crawl around looking for the windows. I don't trust anything these people do.
Wow. Wow. Okay, I want to ask y'all something. I'm jumping about and we're not reading straight through, but I'm trying to hit the highlights because there were a bunch in this. What all did Noah take on the ark? What did he take on the ark?
The animals.
The animals. They took food.
You would have taken the instruments that were passed down as well.
Yeah,
Like what?
I don't know. I don't call it.
Watch this.
Bailey
Wait a
does.
minute.
Watch this, Bailey. What is it? Come on.
The rod of Joseph.
I know.
Yes.
The
The
rod.
garments.
Yes.
The garments, that's what I
Garments.
The garments were the biggest, or big.
Okay, I'm going to read this really quick. So, live streamers, we're doing the Paul Harvey Torah portion today. The whole rest of the story, because there's so much fullness in this Torah
Where
portion.
is it?
It is in Yasher, chapter 7, and verse 23. And Cush was the first son of Ham, right? And Cush, the son of Ham, the son of Noach, took a woman in those days in his old age, and she bore a son, and they called his name Nimrod, saying, at that time the sons of men again began to rebel and transgress against Elohim, and the child grew up, and his father loved him exceedingly, for he was the son of his old age. And the garments of skin which Elohim made for Adam and his woman Hua, when they went out of the garden, were given to Cush. For after the death of Adam and his woman, the garments were given to Hanok, the son of Yared. And when Hanok was taken up to Elohim, he gave them to Methuselah, his son. And at the death of Methuselah, Noach took them and brought them to the ark, and they were with him until he came out of the ark. And in their going out, Ham stole these garments from Noach, his father, and he took them and he hid them from his brothers. When Ham begat his firstborn, Cush, he gave the garments to him. And these ended up being passed down. But this is a curse of thievery. I mean, it started with Ham. And guys, he was raised by two righteous people. So, I mean, you can have the most perfect environment, but you've got the Nephilim. You've got those little devil spirits all around who are there to tempt. And Hasatan wants nothing more than to get those who are in a good family, right? That's who he wants. If he can make them fall, he can affect the parents. I tell you, he can. To see one of your children going astray, going in the wrong direction, would break your heart. And my heart breaks for your mom and dad.
So did Esau get them when he killed Nimrod? Did he get them back?
He
I
did.
would assume Nimrod would have won
But
his
Esau got him. But hey, okay, so when Esau cut Nimrod's head off, he took the garments and he took the rod, the staff, the blue sapphire staff that Moshe had pulled up out of the ground, because who had carried the staff of Joseph to Ruel's house? Ruel was who? He was the Pharaoh's counselor.
That's right.
And when Ruel said, you don't want to mess with the children of Israel, you don't want to mess with their Elohim. He's powerful. He destroys everyone he comes in contact with. You don't want to mess with him. Ruel was like ousted. Pharaoh was like, yeah, you kind of like messed up. Bye. See ya. And so he left, and when he did, he took Joseph's blue sapphire staff, and he took the clothes of of Adam and Hua. So he took all those with him. And there were a few other items that had been given to Adam and Hua that came from the Cave of Treasures. And we'll get into that next week, unless we have a really huge Torah portion like this week, and this was really huge. But all of the stolen garments ended up with Nimrod, and when Esau killed him, he took them back.
Figured.
And
I
when,
haven't read Jasher yet, so.
and guess who ends up with them? Isaac.
Yitzhak does?
Yaakov, excuse me, Yaakov ends up with them.
He would get the birthright, so he would end up with them from Esau. So
Well, he wasn't Esau's son. So,
it was his brother.
so Yishak had Yaakov and Esau in,
Oh.
in everything that he took from his brother, that was part of it.
Yeah.
He and his mom kind of deceived and took away all that stuff. And
That
so,
seems like Yahuwah was in on that, though.
Yah did, in fact, when you read the book of Yasher, Yah wanted this to happen. It's exactly how he planned it. And so the garments that Yishak was feeling, these were the garments of Adam and Hua.
Huh. Okay.
So,
Makes sense.
yeah, and he was like, well, the only person that had these were Esau, and so it has to be Esau. Okay. We're just like breaking everything down, aren't we?
Great.
And now we go to the Tower of Babel.
Sorry.
R2D2 just sent me, what, is that you? What do you need that? Are you gonna make me,
up to something.
is it time
I
to go
was just
home?
sending him where the McKellar
No, he was
He's
telling me
a
where
that-
that was.
he's a that good.
So I can look it up later.
You're so
I
good.
already know his mom. He's been studying Hebrews, all that.
He already knows how to read
Yeah.
yesterday. He's already figured that out.
Well,
All
this,
300 pages of it.
I love the book of
Man, it's
Yasher.
good.
Yeah.
It is. It fills in so much. It is
Yeah.
amazing.
Okay, we're gonna get into the Tower of Babel, and then I'm gonna let y'all go, because y'all are like, just gonna walk out on me. Y'all gonna be like, bye.
Roll away.
Okay, and it starts in 11:1. Bethany, would you start reading?
Of course.
I knew you would.
11:1.
Yes,
of
ma'am,
Yasher?
please. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And Nimrod, son of Cush, was still in the land of Shinar, and he reigned over it and dwelt there, and he built cities in the land of Shinar. And these are the names of the 4 cities which he built, and he called their names after the occurrences that happened to them in the building of the tower. And he called the first Babel, saying, because Yahuwah there confounded the language of the whole earth. And the name of the second he called Erech, because from there Elohim dispersed them. And the third he called Akkad, saying, there was a great battle at that place. And the fourth he called Calneh, because his princes and mighty men were consumed there. And they vexed Yahuwah. They rebelled and transgressed against him. And when Nimrod had built these cities in the land of Shinar, he placed in them the remainder of his people, his princes and his mighty men that were left in his kingdom. And Nimrod dwelt in Babel, and he there renewed his reign over the rest of his subjects, and he reigned securely. And the subjects and princes of Nimrod called his name Amraphel, saying that at the tower his princes and men fell through his means. And notwithstanding this, Nimrod did not return to Yahuwah. And he did continue in wickedness and teaching wickedness to the sons of men. And Mardon, his son, was worse than his father, and continued to add to the abominations of his father. And he caused the sons of men to sin. Therefore, it is said, from the wicked goes forth wickedness. And that time there was war between the families of the children of Ham, as they were dwelling in the cities which they had built. And Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, went away from the families of the children of Ham, and he fought with them, and he subdued them. And he went to the 5 cities of the circle of the Yarden, and he fought against them, and he subdued them. And they were under his control. And they served him 12 years, and they gave him a yearly tax. At that time died Nahor, the son of Serug, in the 49th year of the life of Abraham, son of Terah. And in the 50th year of the life of Abram, son of Terah, Abram came forth from the house of Noah and went to his father's house. And Abram knew Yahuwah, and he went in his ways and instructions, and Yahuwah Eloheinu was with him. And Terah, his father, was in those days still captain of the host of King Nimrod, and he still followed strange Elohim. And Abram came to his father's house and saw 12 Elohim standing there in their temples, and the anger of Abram was kindled when he saw these images in his father's house. And Abram said, As Yahuwah lives, these images shall not remain in my father's house. So shall Yahuwah, who created me do unto me, if in 3 days' time I do not break them all. And Abram went from there, and his anger burned with him. And Abram hastened and went from the chamber of his father's outer court, and he found his father sitting in the court, and all his servants with him. And Abram came and sat before him. And Abram asked his father, saying, Father, tell me, where is Elohim, who created heaven and earth, and all the sons of men upon earth, and who created me and you? And Terah answered his son Abram and said, Behold, those who created us are all with us in the house. And Abram said to his father, My Lord, show them to me, I pray you. And Terah brought Abram into the chamber of the inner court, and Abram saw, and behold, the whole room was full of Elohim, of wood and stone, 12 great images, and others less than they without number. And Terah said to his son, Behold, these are they which made all you see upon earth, and which created me and you and all mankind. And Terah bowed down to his Elohim, and he then went away from them, and Abram his sons went away with him. And when Abram had gone from them, he went to his mother and sat before her, and he said to his mother, Behold, my father has shown me those who made heaven and earth and all the sons of men. Now therefore hasten and fetch a kid from the flock, and make it a savory meat, that I may bring it to my father's little Elohim as an offering for them to eat. Perhaps I may thereby become acceptable to them. And his mother did so, and she fetched a kid and made a savory meat thereof and brought it to Abram. And Abram took the savory meat from his mother and brought it before his father's Elohim, and he drew nigh to them that they might eat. And Terah his father did not know of it. And Abram saw on that day, when he was sitting amongst them, that they had no voice, no hearing, no motion. Not one of them could stretch forth his hand to eat. And Abram mocked them and said, Surely the savory meat that I prepared has not pleased them, or perhaps it was too little for them, and for that reason they would not eat. Therefore tomorrow I will prepare fresh savory meat, better and more plentiful than this, in order that I may see the result. And it was on the next day that Abram directed his mother concerning the savory meat, and his mother rose and fetched 3 fine kids from the flock, and she made of them some excellent savory meat, such as her son was fond of. And she gave it to her son Abram, and Terah his father did not know of it. And Abram took the savory meat from his mother and brought it before his father's Elohim into the chamber. And he came nigh unto them, at that they might eat, and he placed it before them, and Abram sat before them all day, thinking perhaps they might eat. And Abram viewed them, and behold, they had neither voice nor hearing, nor did one of them stretch forth his hand to the meat to eat. And in the evening of that day, in that house, Abram was clothed with the Ruach Elohim, and he called out and said, Woe unto my father in this wicked generation, whose hearts are all inclined to vanity, who serve these idols of wood and stone, which can neither eat, smell, hear, nor speak, who have mouths without speech, eyes without sight, ears without hearing, hands without feelings, and legs which cannot move. Like them are those who made them, and that trust in them. And when Abram saw all these things, his anger was kindled against his father, and he hastened and took a hatchet in his hand, and came into the chamber of the Elohim, and he broke all his father's Elohim. And when he had done breaking the images, he placed the hatchet in the hand of the great Elohim, which was there before them. And he went out, and Terah his father came home, for he had heard at the door the sound of the striking of the hatchet. So Terah came into the house to know what this was about. And Terah, having heard the noise of the hatchet in the room of images, ran to the room to the images, and he met Abram going out. And Terah entered the room and found all the idols fallen down and broken, and the hatchet in the hand of the largest, which was not broken, and the savory meat which Abram his son had made was still before them. And when Terah saw this, his anger was greatly kindled, and he hastened and went from the room to Abram. And he found Abram his son still sitting in the house, and he said to him, "What is this work you have done to my Elohim?" And Abram answered Terah his father, and he said, "Not so, my lord, for I brought savory meat before them, and when I came nigh to them with the meat, that they might eat, they all at once stretched forth their hands to eat before the great one had put forth his hand to eat. And the large one saw their works that they did before him, and his anger was violently kindled against them. And he went and took the hatchet that was in the house and came to them and broke them all. And behold, the hatchet is yet in his hand, as you see. And Terah's anger was kindled against his son Abram. When he spoke this, and Terah said, Abram, his son, in his anger, "What is this tale that you have told? You speak lies to me. Is there in these Elohim's ruach, soul, or power to do all you have told me? And they not wood and stone, and have I not myself made them? And can you speak such lies, saying that the large Elohim that was with them smote them? It is you that did place the hatchet in the hands, and then say he smote them all." And Abram answered his father and said to him, "And how can you serve these idols in whom there is no power to do anything? Can those idols in which you trust deliver you? Can they hear your prayers when you call upon them? Can they deliver you from the hands of your enemies? Or will they fight your battles for you against your enemies, that you should serve wood and stone, which can neither speak nor hear? And now surely it is not good for you, nor for the sons of men that are connected with you, to do these things. Are you so silly, so foolish, or so short of understanding that you will serve wood and stone, and do after this manner, and forget Yahuwah, Elohim, who made heaven and earth, and who created you in the earth?" And
Okay, hold on just a second. Okay, so this, that is a lot.
Long-winded.
Yeah.
So
There's nothing in here.
Abraham came from the house of Shem. He came home to Terah's house. And we kind of missed part of that story because I started her in the wrong place. But the fullness of the story was at Abraham's birth, there was a prophecy foretold. And the prophecy said that this young man will take your head. He will end up taking the kingship and everything. And so Nimrod was going to have Abraham killed. So Terah took him first of all, he lived in a cave with his mom for about 11 years. And afterwards, he carried him on to Shem. So he grew up with Shem, under Shem's training.
So he took him there to protect him, and he ended up being taught the Torah.
He ended up learning everything against what his father was doing. And so next week, we are going to get into what happens to Abraham. But it is a story that is just like what happened to Daniel's friends. They're cast into a fire. His brother is cast into the fire with him. His brother Haran is cast into the fire with him. And Haran dies because he does not have the faith nor the righteousness that Abraham has. Abraham is then elevated by Nimrod. All these stories and tales that go about, but we will get into all of that next week. Haran was the father of Lot. He was also the father of Sarai. So when Abraham leaves, he takes with him Terah, he takes Haran's son, Lot, and he takes Sarai, which he marries. Milcah was his other daughter, and his other brother, his younger brother, Nahor, married her. So, there's a lot there. But in the battle for the the Tower of Babel, just know that in chapter 9, it's all about, well, in chapter 9, verse 24, I'm going to read this really quick, and we're going to be done because everybody's going to fall asleep. And they began to make bricks and burn fires to build the city and the tower that they had imagined to complete. And the building of the tower was unto them a transgression and a sin, and they began to build it. And while they were building against Yahweh Elohim of heaven, they imagined in their hearts to war against him, to ascend into heaven. And all these people and all the families divided themselves into three parts. The first said that we will ascend into heaven and fight against Yahweh. The second said we will ascend to heaven and place our own Elohim there and serve them. And the third part said we will ascend into heaven, smite him with bows and spears. And Elohim knew all their works and all their evil thoughts, and he saw the city and the tower which they were building. So, skip over to 38. And as to the tower which the sons of men built, the earth opened its mouth, swallowed up 1/3 part of it. A fire descended from heaven and burned another third, and the other third is left to this day. So, that part which was aloft in its circumference is 3 days' walk. So the part that is left over was a 3 days' walk. This was a huge tower. And many of the sons of men died in that tower, and people without number. So, of course, Abba Yah overthrew them. He confused their languages. So there was not even any more communication. But even to get one stone up to the top, it took a year.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty
dimensions
tall.
were like a mile and a half wide or 2.5 miles wide, something like that, and like 8,000 something feet tall.
Yes.
It's insane how big it was.
Over a mile, a mile and a half really, tall as how big it was. So that they would have to push these stones round about the tower to get it up. It's just amazing the feat that they even set out to try to accomplish.
I suspect that they were using technology as well,
Frequency,
all kinds of stuff. Like
NASA. No.
I think based on the size of the tower, it had to involve giants. It just had to.
yeah,
Nimrod.
yes.
Why wouldn't there be other giants? And if he made himself a giant, was he somehow creating other giants?
Yes. Okay, so that's where I was going with the fact that there were Nephilim before the flood and then after. So by embodying these entities into your body, could you become whatever you wanted to become?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because Nimrod was a mighty man. He was big. Abba loved Nimrod. At first, he was like a man after his own heart, a man that was a hunter. It's not how he finished, because Yah did tell him, you've got to be very careful. He was not.
Solomon. He decided to play with him and he shouldn't.
Solomon is still that great mystery to me. I'm like, what was he thinking? Well, he wasn't. Well, what was he thinking with? He wasn't. He was not thinking. 700 princess brides. These were all princes, divas. And 300 concubines.
But he wanted all the wisdom of men. He got it.
It was for
It's
show.
useless.
Everything
Yes.
was for show.
Yeah.
Like, it
Alliance.
looked good on the outside.
Mhm.
He had everything.
But he knew better on everything he did. And yet he still built all these altars to Molech and Baal
Yeah.
in the Kidron Valley. Between the Temple Mount and the Mount of Olives.
Yeah.
He built all this stuff. It's just bizarre to me.
The occult reveres him to this day because he's the one who opened most of the portals that they use to this day in the occult.
Really?
Yeah, the most powerful magic the occult uses is called the 44 Seals of Solomon.
Really?
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
I can tell you lots of things about that, but I wish I didn't know.
Wow. We've got to have an offline class.
Off the record.
Off the
There's
record.
things I wouldn't say in front of any of these kids.
Yes. Oh, wow. Kids out of the room, an adult only class. She's like, I'm out of here.
Hey, I'm out here, you lost me.
Brownie's
anyway.
He's like, I'm leaving anyway, I want sweets.
Seth, would you pray us out and then play us a song?
Oh, Father, thank you for this day. Father, thank you for this Torah portion that we can spend with you to learn more, to learn from each other, Father. And I'm asking you just to bless everyone in this room, Father. Today is a sign between your set-apart ones and us and you, Father, and just talking to you and praising you, Father, and just help us walk out your walk better than we have the days before, Father, and help us just get through each day, Father, as it is our last. We love you. We thank you. We bless your holy name. In the precious name of your Son.
Amen.
Amen.
So guys, thank you for joining us again. And here we have our song and dance band. You gotta dance too. We just went country
Praise
here.
Yahweh, praise Yahweh.
We just went you went Louisiana on me.
Yeah, I can.
So guys, blessings to each and every one of you, and Shabbat
Shalom.
And I took my glasses off. Am I anywhere near the blue point?